Hi, I'm Ned and I'm interviewing my grandparents about VE Day. What does VE mean?
Victory in Europe.
How old were you on VE Day?
I was nearly 9.
And I don't think you were nearly 9. And I think I was 7.
What can you remember about VE Day?
I was living with my mum, and on VE Day we had a party in the street. Well, we had lots of bunting, lots of flags that we put up. The Union Jack was put up on the house, and then we had the bunting pinned across the front of the house, and just up the road were some people my age. They were all girls, in fact. Two lived next door, and then some more just a bit further up. So we had a tea party really up the road, and then in the evening there was a bonfire on some wasteland quite nearby. So there was a lot of celebration, but there was one odd thing for us, because your great-grandfather, my father, was a prisoner, and he was a prisoner of the Japanese, and VE Day was the end of the war with Germany, but not the end of the whole war. So we could celebrate that there'd be no more bombing on our town, on Nottingham, but my mum and I didn't know whether my father was going to come home. So we had to wait for the end of the war in August against the Japanese to know that. Granny, your turn.
Right. Well, we were having a holiday. My little sister was nearly 1, and we'd gone to the seaside, my mum and I and my little sister. And my dad was away at the war, and he was planning something or other. He'd been doing the D-Day landings, and he was off planning something else. And we went to the seaside, and I went with the man who did the donkeys on the beach, and took little children under the age of 7 for little rides along the beach. And then I was in the sun all day long and got sunstroke, and so ended up in bed with a very high temperature. And I didn't have a tremendously good day, which was a bit sad, to be honest. Because we were away from home, we didn't have sort of celebrations in the streets or anything like that.
Thank you. Can you remember what food you had on VE Day?
Food?
Yes.
I don't think I can. I think I had a sandwich on the beach, which is not very jolly, is it really?
Not really.
And then I was sick. So, so I'm sorry about that.
There wasn't much food because all the food was rationed. But what I think, everybody knew that this bit of the war was coming to an end. So people saved up. So they'd save up flour and eggs, whatever was needed to make cakes. So there were quite a lot of cakes that had all been made. You couldn't buy cakes in a shop, but you could make them at home. So there were a lot of mums been making cakes and making sandwiches. And that's the sort of food we had.
And lots of people saved up their rations. They said, I remember my mum saying, if we all give up sugar, I shall be able to make a cake in 2 weeks' time, because we all had a little tiny bit of sugar rationing. And so that's how we worked it out.
Thank you. What did you do to celebrate it today?
Well, I tell you what we did. We had a very English meal, which was fish and chips.
So did we.
Yeah.
And we've got some bunting outside hanging from the fir tree. and it's been quite a quiet day. We watched people who'd served in the war and had been to the VE celebrations in London, and the great crowds that all went to London to celebrate and party.
And listen to the Queen.
And we listened to the Queen. I must say, when I think back to that, I hadn't thought about that day for a long time.
Everybody knew
It was
as
coming to the
I
end,
remember,
yeah.
that the war against the war in Europe was coming to an end, but nobody knew exactly when. And of course, there were people who were killed, you know, hours before it actually all stopped, which was absolutely terrible for them. It was a period of enormous relief because there could be no more bombing, there could be no more attacks, there'd be no more people. There was still quite a long way to go to get it all finished.
That's great. Thank you.